What is up, guys, and welcome back to this fourth Dash and Plotly tutorial video. Today we're going to be going over callbacks in Dash. So what callbacks basically are ways to update different elements within your Dash application. So for instance, we have two separate graphs right here. We can update those dynamically on the fly through an input box or something like that, as you can see I put right here, which we're going to recreate. And you can also update figures and other elements by interacting with drop downs and range sliders, which we haven't gone over yet. But overall, it's just a nice way to update different parts of your app dynamically. So with that being said, we need to update a few things within our code to proceed. So we need to update import the Dash dependencies. So from dash.dependencies, import output and then input. Great. So after that, what we can do is create an input box. So that's going to be the start or our trigger to our callback. So dcc.input, but we can encase it in an HTML div. Okay. Let's just clean that up for a sec. Great. So we need an ID with our input field. The reason being is because we need to reference it in our callback to know where basically we're getting the data from. So I'll say stock-input, and I'm going to set initial value to value. I'm just trying to get rid of that complete menu. Value equals SPY, so that's the S&P 500 index as an ETF. So we're going to set an initial value within this, and then we need type, which is going to be equal to text. And great, that looks good. So I think where we can go next is down here at the bottom. So we usually place callbacks near the bottom of our application. So we'll say app.callback, and this is going to be pretty much where all the unique functionality happens within the callback. So we also have to define a function too, but we're going to basically assign a decorator right here for our callback. So what we need to do is dash.dependencies.output. We'll set the output first. We need to provide where we're outputting or what we're updating. So I'm going to say graph close. So we'll update this first graph. I don't think we'll have two graphs anymore. We'll just keep one for the sake of simplicity. So I think it's graph underscore close. And then we want to update the figure aspect of the graph. Great. So the only thing we need now is the input that we're referencing. So dash.dependencies.input. And we need to make sure this is encased in brackets. And what are we referencing again? We're referencing stock input, and we need the value from that input. Okay. Now I'm just going to push that down. Great. Now we need a function for our callback. So I'm going to say def update underscore fig, and we're going to pass in the input value from our text box. Great. And what we want to do now is get rid of this other graph because we're just going to keep one. And we don't need our figure because we're going to be updating this in the function. So, and we don't need this HTML H3 either. And we can get rid of this stuff up here too. So all we're going to keep is trace close. And we're going to copy this, paste it down here. And we don't need the input stock. And we can leave the start and end up here. Clean this up a bit. And basically, all we're doing is generating the data frame in the update function, and the trace close, which is going to be our data for our graph, is going to be generated here as well. So the start value of SPY is going to be passed into this function, and it's going to update this graph right here. So all we need to do now is make sure that all the data is in a list, and this needs to happen in a callback function. So, or not a callback function, this needs to happen for the data to be outputted to the chart. So data.append and then trace close. Great. And the only thing we need to do right now is return our graph. So we can return, we can say, I think what we can do actually is create a layout as well. I was going to do that up there, but I think we can do this right down here. So layout equals in a dictionary. We can say the title, and that will be equal to callback graph. And that should be okay. And we're going to return to our graph a dictionary. So we're going to return the data, which is going to be equal to data. And we're going to return the layout. Great. So this should be okay for our callback function to demonstrate. We're going to save this, run it, and just wait for it to load. And it looks like we forgot a comma right here. So let me just put that down, and I'm going to rerun this app. And it looks like we're all good. And we should see a graph that's updated right when we open it. And there we go. So we have the SPY. So just going back here really quickly, our initial value is the SPY, and that's from there triggering an event that is update fig, which is a callback. So that's really what a callback is in a nutshell. And if I can go back to here and type in a different stock, so let me try Amazon. I'll do Netflix. So you can see how this can really work well with Dash and the app we're going to build. Now I could also, instead of callback graph, I could put input value here. Probably should have done that first. And there we go. I'll do Facebook. And cool. So I hope this was informative, guys. Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like as well. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.